Hello and welcome to Engine Adventures. Today we have an overview of this 2021 Ford Bronco. This is a base model and it's got some upgraded Icon wheels with Falcon Wild Peak tires. These are the AT3Ws and I believe they are 32-inch tires, and it's got a matching spare on it as well. And the soft top version, of course, because the hard tops are so hard to come by. But let's go ahead and take a look under the hood. Here is the 2.3 liter inline 4-cylinder with a turbo. It has a good amount of torque down low, something like 300 horsepower and more torque than that, 370 or something crazy. I'll put it up on the screen what the horsepower and torque are, and of course you can tune it and get more out of it. This one is still stock except for those rims and tires that I showed you, so no engine upgrades in here, but you can see all the hoses and wiring and all that. And when you have the V6 in here, it just gets insane. So even as is, there's a lot of stuff going on. Add 2 more cylinders in a V configuration and this thing gets crazy busy under the hood. Let's take a look inside. So before we climb in, just take a look at these. So again, base model, so manual, cloth seats. It does have the automatic transmission, 10-speed automatic instead of the 7-speed manual, which would have been awesome, but it does have the 10-speed. And there's 2 car seats. There are 2 car seats there, and you can see not a ton of space in between them. If you have skinny seats, you can fit a third in there, but it'd be a little bit tight. And a decent amount of leg room. Probably enough for adults, and you can see the shape of the seat kind of curves in, comes out. See if we can get that profile a little bit. Anyway, enough for adults in there, but it is a little bit tight. Not a ton of space in there. And then here in the back, okay amount of cargo room. The cargo room, it's pretty similar to the Jeep Wrangler, so it's a little bit wider. On this trip, I'm also been around a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 4xe quite a bit, and so this vehicle is definitely, it's a little wider, a little bigger overall, but it really doesn't have a ton more space inside. There's a little bit more space. It's harder to see the corners. You have these big fenders and the hood are really high all the way out here, so it's hard to see the corners of the vehicle, but the extra space inside is nice to have. You're not sitting shoulder to shoulder with the other passengers like you are in the Wrangler, but overall they are pretty similar vehicles. This one rides a lot smoother on the road with the independent front suspension, and it's just a really nice riding vehicle for how off-road capable it is. And let's climb in the driver's seat here, talk a little bit about all the features it has, and hopefully I can get rid of that sun glare a little bit. But you saw the rocks and stuff when you start it up. It's got all the display, but so right here it still has that off-road turn assist where it'll brake the inside wheel, traction control buttons there, and these are like super rubberized protected buttons. And the drive modes are here. It is a base model, so you don't get them all. If you want to, I believe people have figured out how to do a computer system deal where you can get them all, but normal mode is all the way to the left, and then as you scroll through them, eco, sport, slippery, and sand, and those are the different drive modes. And then it does have push button selectors here, and it actually has trail control. So we'll go ahead, we'll hit 4 high, and we can put it in, well, you know what, let's do 4 low so we can do the really slow mode here. So this does have trail control, and all you do is use the set speed buttons over here, and you can set the speed for trail control. So right now it's set at 1 mile an hour. Right here you can see, and it'll just keep me at that 1 mile an hour the whole way. And we're going down, this isn't really steep, and I'm not going to do a full-on off-road video test of this thing, but yeah, as you can tell, it's just keeping me at 1 mile an hour. I'm in 4 low, so it automatically turns off traction control, but really same thing. I mean, you don't hear the ABS on this like you do with Toyota's crawl control, and supposedly the new Toyotas have gone away from hammering the ABS so hard, but the trail control works really well. It's worked in the Raptor and even the other vehicles I've used that have it from other manufacturers have the same types of systems. They tend to work really well. I like Fords a lot because the slower speeds are meant for downhill and you don't hear the brakes all the time. I'm in a rut now. Oh, it actually stopped me. That's hilarious. I did that whole thing in neutral, but that would be why you didn't hear the brakes at all. I heard them just a tiny bit right there. And we did just lift a wheel on that little rut. So maybe in this base model, not as much wheel travel as you'll get on one of the higher end models. I'm gonna go ahead and let's just pull into this rut over here real quick. And then we will do a little bit of off-road section, but really not much. Again, this is not my vehicle. The owner of this vehicle is pretty protective of it, and it's a very nice Bronco, of course, but anyway, that just means we're not going to be getting into all the crazy off-road stuff with it. So here you can see the articulation there on the rear. The front one is down in this rut and in there pretty good, but when I stand on the rear, it's not going to lift the front, I don't think. So I mean, a decent amount of, again, base model, so a decent amount of articulation here, pretty big gap, and pretty well stuffed right there. Let's see if I stand on this, if that front wheel comes off the ground, and it doesn't. So there's probably a bit more travel on the front than what we're seeing there, but not bad on the rear. All right, I have not been impressed with this the brake system. So I can feel the two wheels spinning. It's the front passenger and rear driver, and it's really not able to climb it. So I go down here, hit the trail control, set it to 1 mile an hour, and it's still not able to climb this. And I have some exterior footage that we'll put up on here, but I'm really not happy that it's not able to do this very easily. So we'll call it quits there. But the brake system's not as effective as I would expect in something this off-road capable, but I am in normal mode. We can try slippery and just see if there's a difference there. Oh, it wants me in 4 high for slippery. What about sand mode? Let's see, sand mode. So let's see if sand mode does any better. Nope. All right, so it really needs the other off-road drive modes to be able to do this. So we're gonna go back to normal mode and call it quits here. You can see the Bronco trying to transfer power to the front driver's side wheel, but it's just not transferring enough there. So essentially the front passenger and the rear driver's side wheels are in the air, and then the two on the ground, the power is being transferred to them with the brake system. And in the base model, you don't get the rock mode, which would be the ideal mode for here. And you can see when I straighten out a little bit, it does climb it, but it definitely struggled with this, and I expected a lot more out of it. So on road, the Bronco has much better manners than the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon does. Again, this is a base model with rims and tires, but it's not a full-on off-road. You know, it's not a Wild Track or a Sasquatch or anything like that. It's just a regular base model. So the base model Jeeps might ride better. I've only been in the Rubicons, but I doubt it. And this thing rides really well. The independent front suspension allows for the rack and pinion steering, which makes it drive and handle really well. It is direct. You get good feedback from the steering for an off-roader, and no issues with the 10-speed transmission, but I haven't driven this much. This isn't a media vehicle that I kept for a week. I've only driven this, you know, half an hour maybe. So I don't have a good feel for all of the driving dynamics and the transmission and that stuff. But from what I have experienced, the 10-speed in the Bronco is actually working much better than my experience with the Ford Ranger and the other Ford trucks with the 10-speed. You can probably hear the soft top a little bit. It is, as you would expect, a little bit noisy. We're going 45 miles an hour, and you can hear the soft top making noise already. I imagine at the freeway speeds, 70 miles an hour, whatever, it's going to be quite loud. And nothing crazy. It's going to be similar to the Jeep Wrangler, but just if you were expecting a silent ride in the new Bronco, you're not getting that from the soft top. And I'm hoping to get a hard top in the future to be able to test as well, and maybe a Sasquatch package or something where we can do a little bit more off-road stuff. But it's a comfortable ride. The steering's great, very direct, precise, whatever. It's a good vehicle. And the high-speed off-road I didn't do very much of. Again, it felt planted. The steering was good at higher speed off-road, but I didn't do very much of that. I could tell in the little bit that I did that the independent suspension is much smoother than the suspension with the solid axle on the Wrangler Rubicon, but as you saw, the articulation is not very good. So thank you for watching. Have a great day.